Hi, we are Group 5 and today we will present our research on the correlation between social friends and major. Let's go! We will cover 4 main parts in this video: research questions, applying survey data, limitations, and big findings. Our research question is, do Fulbright students in the same major tend to have more out-of-class interactions than those in different majors? Our hypothesis is that students tend to have more out-of-class interactions with those that are in the same major. There exist some assumptions regarding major and social life, such as students pursuing engineering are more likely to socialize with people in the same major. With curiosity, we examine in our research 4 most popular majors in Fulbright to see if reality really aligns with the mentioned perspective. We also believe that our findings will provide insight into the mechanism behind Fulbrighters' social life. Also, there have been much research that covered the influence of factors such as family, race, and gender on a person's major choice, but not the opposite. Therefore, we would like to fill in the gap with a research which discusses the effect of major choice on one's relationships. The concept of homophily, which suggests that people tend to communicate with those similar to them, form the basis of our assumption and argument. By applying the notion of diffusion and contagion, we can divide our data set into 2 main groups: social friends who have the same major with A and non-social friends who have the same major with A. Readings throughout the weeks also taught us to become aware of the limitations and biases in our research. But most important of all is the coding, which helped us analyze our data in detail. We worked with 2 statistics. The first one is acquired when we took the number of social friends with similar major to A and divided with the total social friends of A. The second is achieved through dividing the number of non-social friends with similar major to A by A's non-social friends. It is important to realize that the total number of non-social friends is equal to 143, subtract the number of social friends. 143 is the number of people who had completed the survey. If these 2 results or statistics overlap, we might conclude that there is a connection between one's major choice and social life. If the opposite is true, we will reject our initial hypothesis. Now, looking at the result, you will realize that there is no overlap, which means that there is no correlation between one's major choice and social life. Our hypothesis is rejected.
Furthermore, we would also like to discuss about all the obstacles, limitations to our project, and some potential future plans of our current research question. Regarding all the limitations we have encountered throughout the process, after having conducted the research, there are some limitations within our project that should be addressed. Firstly, our sample size is relatively small, including only 106 students in a total of 4 big majors: economics, psychology, art and media studies, and computer science. Secondly, the chosen major in the current project are not fixed, since the majority of the participants are still sophomores and freshmen, in which their choice could possibly expect changes in the next few years. And lastly, our coding is also long and complicated, which makes it much harder for explanation to the readers. And regarding the survey question, the survey question list we received at the beginning of the semester has significantly contributed some crucial information for our project's data analysis and coding. However, there are also some issues which we have detected during the process of making the research. First of all, there are participants who are not serious in filling the survey, and this leads to confounding variables that affect the result. Specifically, we have found some odd findings in the project. Secondly, similarly to what we have mentioned before about the temporary major choice, these current answers may expect changes in the future, and our findings may no longer be valid. And lastly, not all people have filled in the survey. The current survey version has greatly assisted our final project on having a good database for meaningful data analysis. However, if possible, we would also like to propose some additional questions to the list for more project ideas. The first one is rank this class lesson from the easiest to the hardest in the scale from 1 to 10, with 1 as the easiest and 10 as the hardest. The first question is expected to be associated with some question in the survey, such as the stress level and the amount of time a student spends on studying. This may be a good resource for research questions on comparing the stress level or productivity of students in different majors. The second one, which is what are you proud of accomplishing this year? And this may be assignments, tests, plans, or teaching style. The second one may provide a hint to the relationship between students' pride in learning and their preference in major choice, or even linked to their higher academic success. Regarding all the big findings in our research project, that after having done all the research process, which includes data analysis and 2 ways of coding, and unfortunately, we found invalid answers to the first version of coding, therefore it was eliminated. We concluded that our finding contradicts with the original hypothesis, that in fact, students in different majors tend to have more out-of-class interactions than those who study in the same major. And lastly, we would also like to open a discussion on some future plans based on our research question. Since our research project aims on figuring out the correlation between students' social friends and their major choice, we would like to conduct further research on this base. However, the approach may differ. The first one is that by having more friends, an individual is more likely to be exposed to different opinions and perspectives. Therefore, this may significantly influence one's major choice. And we want to ask that is it true but that by having more friends, students who have not yet decided their major choices are much easier to blend with their friends' trend than those who don't? And the second one is that is the relationship between students' college major choice and their success career life valid, or this is only a stereotype that some famous major made for themselves. And the last one we have thought about is to replicate this project on other public universities in Ho Chi Minh City to see whether the results are different. So this is the end of our final presentation. Thank you all for listening.